So we have the high steadiness. Their pace is going to be a little bit slower. They're going to be a little bit more gentle in their style. They're going to be calm. Steadiness types, sometimes we refer to them as supportiveness as well, because they're very supportive. They're good team players. They want to make sure everyone gets along. Can't we just all cooperate? That is really important to them. They are very motivated by sincerity. They like to have a plan. And so they will spend a lot of time getting their systems in place. If the office does a move, as an example, they probably will come in over the weekend to make sure everything is just right so they're ready to go on Monday morning. They're very loyal. They're team players. They're good listeners. And so they're going to care about what happened to you over the weekend and how your family is, very family oriented. And those things are very important to them. They're motivated by, again, I mentioned sincerity. They're also motivated by stability. So they want things to be able to be steady. This has worked. Why do we need to change it? Doesn't mean that they can't deal with change, but they want time to understand it and to get their systems back in place. The blind spot for the high steadiness is that they can sometimes put their own needs last because they are overly willing to share and to give and to go the extra mile. So if you have some high steadiness in you, it's important for you to stand up for yourself, to be able to set a limit and to say, no, just can't do that. Otherwise, you might burn yourself out. The other thing that can sometimes be a fun thing for high steadiness, if there is anyone out there listening, if you're listening as a team and there's somebody on the team that this applies to, I usually get a few snickers. And that is that a high steadiness can be a little bit, what we might say, overly possessive about your things. So you like things in a place. You might not say it because you're so nice, but you can be very irritated when somebody comes and borrows something and then doesn't put it back, or puts it back in a way that wasn't as good as when they took it. That can be very irritating to you. So if you have a high steadiness that you work with, please ask permission. Make sure it's okay if you borrow their manual or their stapler or whatever, and then put it back just as soon as you're finished with it in as good as a shape as when you received it. Let's look at high S steadiness. Now, your steadiness types are not as much out there in the public, so they're sometimes a little bit harder to recognize. One that comes to mind for me that I think is a great example of high steadiness behavior, and again, regardless of politics, whether you like these individuals or not, but would be Laura Bush. If you see her in her role, very much kind of behind the scenes, very nice, very just steady, if you will. You always kind of know what to expect when Laura Bush was in the limelight, which probably she didn't enjoy too much, but being able to be a support to her husband. Another one, and if you are a high S, I hope you'll forgive me for this, but one that always comes to mind for me, if you've ever seen the late Mr. Rogers, who was a TV host of a kids TV program. I loved Mr. Rogers. He was so kind, so nice. You always knew that you could expect the same thing, the way he would put on his sweater at the end of the program each and every day. Very nice individuals. Sometimes you'll find high S's that people will, unfortunately, you'll hear in a eulogy, or after they've passed on, someone will say, he was the nicest guy, salt of the earth. He would do anything. He would give you the shirt off his back. These are the examples. Sometimes coaches, you'll find those with a coach that was very much of a high S style. And again, we can bring any of these styles out as we need them. If I'm a counselor, as an example, then I hope that I can put on my high S behavior so that I can really be a good listener as I'm listening to my clients. If you want to focus on improving a relationship with your high steadiness friends and coworkers, then provide them stability. Let them know that you're going to be there to support them as they move forward with any plan. You're going to give them some guidance. You're going to really help pave the way and be there to take those obstacles out of the way as much as you can. And be sincere in your praise and your interaction with your high steadiness coworkers. Okay, so just in review, we have the issue of pace. So your D's and your I's will tend to be a little bit faster paced. Your S's and your C's will be a little bit slower paced. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was place. So we have pace and we have place. And where place, what I'm talking about there is where we tend to place our emphasis. So you have D's and C's, the dominance and the conscientiousness styles that tend to put their emphasis, they will place emphasis on task. So they're focused on getting things done. High D's, getting it done quickly. High C's, getting it done well and accurately. And then your high I's and your high S's will tend to put their place their focus, if you will, on relationships. So the high I's, because I want to bring you all along and get you on board and influence you, and high steadiness will put their emphasis on relationships because we want to cooperate. We want people to work together as a team. So think about pace and place, and hopefully this will help you as you start to pay attention to individual style. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you have a need for more information, two websites I want to refer you to. You can go to trainingresources.com. That is our main website, which will provide you with the actual tools, the facilitation materials, the reports, where you can go and find out more from a real assessment about your DISC style. If you're looking to get some training around DISC, you can go to our main training website, which is disctraining.com. And by the way, on disctraining.com, I also have a free audio e-course. If you go there and look over on the left-hand side, you'll see free audio e-course, I believe it says. Sign up for that. I deliver 7 email lessons in a course called 7 Deadly Sins that DISC trainers make. Because I've done them all. And hopefully you can avoid some of those with a little bit of help from my experience. Thank you so much for listening to this this video. I wish you the very best. Continue to do people reading each and every day, and as you start down the road of DISC, you will discover many fun things about yourself and others. So thank you so much. Bye now.